Okay, good afternoon, everyone. How is everyone doing? You can put it in the comment. What do I call it? Comments, chat session section. So, I'm really glad to have everyone here and welcome to today's info session. So it's going to be a quick one, right? So we're just going to go over what we or yeah, we're just going to go over what the community is, have a couple of sessions, and we will call it a day. And yeah, basically just you knowing about what this session is, and that's like the whole summary. So first off, before we proceed, I would like to lay some ground rules on. So these are the rules we'll be following, and it looks like a lot, but ideally it's something that everyone should be accustomed with. So first off, yeah, please be respectful to everyone, to yourselves, and create a supportive environment. No curse words, no insults to anyone trying to pass their opinions on the chat section. Yeah, also please keep your microphone muted unless you are a speaker or you are asked to unmute your mic so we can have a very, very peaceful and seamless session. Then yeah, engage, put your thoughts whenever uh the speaker is talking. Um, share your thoughts, put your questions in the chat. They will hear you and they would answer you. Also, if you are speaking, use the raise hand function. So we'd love to hear like your thoughts, but we need to be orderly in what we're doing. So I would like you to use your the raise hand function before you speak, so we can have people that we can have the list of people that wants to speak, right? Also, we should keep the discussion to be machine learning and AI related, except it was asked. So we don't want to go off topic and off agenda. So also avoid spamming the chat with irrelevant links. If you do that, I have no choice than to remove you. Then feel free to ask questions and get to know people. And lastly, and most importantly, have fun while doing all of this. So back to this. So this is our agenda for today. Our agenda is okay. I've done the welcome. I've done the welcome. So I would be taking us on what ML Lagos is. The- Then we'll have our first keynote. Then we'll have the Q&A, and we'll have the breakdown. Then the second talk. Then the second Q&A. Then an icebreaker activity. We'll take announcements. Now that feels like church service. We'll take announcements. Also how to stay connected with the community, and yeah, closing remarks. So I go in. What is learning Lagos? Because I know on the group chat someone was asking what this was and if there are like other machine learning communities like this around. So the first thing I would like to say is that um yeah, sorry about that. So yeah, back to what Machine Learning Lagos is. So Machine Learning Lagos is a community that is committed to fostering, or rather, all of this is English, right? The summary is that you can read it, you can read up on it, but basically the summary is that Machine Learning Lagos is an AI community that is under the Google ecosystem, where we'll talk about Google AI product, their technologies, and also we're not also limiting ourselves to Google technologies, because I mean there are lots more than Google technologies we have outside there. So what we'll be doing is we'll also be having other sessions, basically what machine learning oriented, and we that's basically what we're meant to be discussing here. So all our events, anything we have is going to be machine learning related or machine learning focused. So then what do we offer as a community? So what do we offer as a community? We have technical sessions. I know everyone should have gotten an email about this technical session that we are having. Would have technical sessions that will be monthly, where we'd invite experts to come speak to us about different topics and different basically things that they've done or things that they have idea about. So it's not just going to be oh, what is, let's say maybe what is machine learning. So we're not going to be having all those kind of beginner topics. I won't say it's not going to be beginner, right? But it's something that you're going to take that's going to have so much insight. So the beginner or the entry level topics will mostly be taken at the study groups, which I'll be explaining shortly. You would have the technical events or workshops. Then you would have so we also have study groups. That's part of what we offer as a community. Study groups will have different learning sessions such as deep learning, natural language processing, machine learning in general, and more. As the community moves around and the community needs all those things, we would be providing these study groups based on the request. Then also what do we offer as a community? We would offer real world projects. So we're going to be open sourcing or working on open source projects. And this is something that is dear to me because looking at the whole machine learning field, right? um Open source and machine learning, or from my perspective, it's still kind of something that people are wanting to break into. So we'll be bringing this home, and we'll be having a lot of projects and initiatives like that. And also networking opportunities like this, where you would um meet with people, researchers, developers, industry professionals, and the likes, showcasing talent to. So if you have a project and you think you want us to talk about your project, you can always reach out to the community managers. And yeah, the community managers are here. They are Peter and Damilola. So you can always reach out to them. They've been doing an amazing work so far. So you can always send them a message and would help you publicize your work. We like when people do stuff, right? And we want the whole world to hear about it. So with our little um with our little support, or with our little audience that we have, we'll be sharing it with the whole world and with the community. So you can also do that. And lastly, we'll have resources repository. So this is another one too that is dear to me, because I have been asked so many times that, oh, what is the best way to get into machine learning? What is the best way to do something? What is the best way to start with computer vision or something? And to be answering the question over and over, right? It's kind of, how will I put it? It is very, very monotonic. So what we're going to be doing as a community is that we're going to be creating a resources repository where every you can always go there and check what resource you need, be it on anything, courses. We're not giving the courses for free. Well, we don't have money yet. So courses, books, links, basically we just have that. And also it's going to be open. So if you feel there's something we should put there, we're going to put it there. So that's like what we offer as a community, or what we will be offering as a community. So currently the team, we have a lot of people on the team. Yeah, and we have around 8 teams. So we have or yeah, the team that basically put all of this together, right? We have the design team that did the designs for us, the content team that wrote content, community management that publicized what we are doing now, the event planning team, they're the ones that brought this together, logistics, part of our events, whether it's being physical or virtual, the project coordinating team and the study groups team. So yeah, before anyone asks me, at the moment we're not open to getting new team members because we are already full. But as time goes on, we might want to expand. So if we're expanding, um, we'll be we'll be calling out for volunteers, and yeah, go to you can go to apply for that. So the first session that we'll be having is the Google AI ecosystem by Olayinka Peter. And Olayinka Peter is a senior machine learning engineer at Credit Direct and is a GDE for machine learning. And as a as a GDE for, so GDE stands for Google Developer Expert. So we're glad to have a Google Developer Expert on our first call. I should be expecting some claps and seeing some claps there. So as a GDE for machine learning, it brings hands-on expertise in machine learning, data engineering, and software engineering. So we're really glad to have Olayinka Peter in our midst. And yeah, over to you, Olayinka Peter. Oh yeah, I just call him Olayinka actually, Oyinka.
Hi, hi everyone. I'm super excited to be here. I'm going to put on my video in a couple minutes. Just give me a few, about 5 minutes to settle in. But before I turn on my video, I'm just curious, right? Does anybody in the hall have any questions they ask me? Just shoot them in the comments. Like, are you curious about anything? Before I say anything, before I give any talk. Is there anything on your mind that you'd like to ask me? Ask me a comment so that we'll just, get into my session by answering those questions first. All right.
Okay, so yeah, like you said, if you have any questions, yeah, you just put it in the chat section and yeah. So in the meantime, while we're waiting for Olayinka, yeah, as you're dropping your questions, yeah, think about like different things. So we're talking about the Google AI system, right? And the Google AI, why do I keep on saying system? The Google AI ecosystem, right? Yeah, we have like a whole lot of things that have been happening in the ML space over the years. I won't say over the years, like 2 years ago. So you can ask your questions, your thoughts on what those questions on what those topics or what those things are about, and in relation to um, the Google AI ecosystem. For example, now one question I usually get a lot because a lot of people believe I'm a Google fangirl. They're always like, "Oh, how do I rate ChatGPT to Gemini or Google AI Studio, and how do I find the AI ecosystem?" So, I mean, those are ideas on how you can, or those are where you can start your questions from, or if you're interested in the technologies of or what they use and the Google AI. I can't say maybe you answer that one because it's not working at Google, but being a GD, you'd have so much expertise on what is being used around there, and from his wealth of experience, you'll be able to answer those questions. So yeah, it's just one question we have. We should have like, I was waiting to see like 50 questions already, but that's fine. Yeah, I can keep asking your questions, or maybe if you are still thinking, I can give more questions to people. If you need questions from me, I can I can ginger you to ask like a lot of questions. So yeah, one question you could ask is let me see. So the AI ecosystem, we have notebook LM, and we have a lot of Google products, and how does all of them synchronize, or how do we have these products work individually? Are they based on Gemini alone? Because we have so much AI products, and Gemini is like one big tool that they are pushing. So is it that Gemini is the next big thing, or is already a big thing? Those are like questions. I'm giving like questions already. So I don't even have any questions to ask again since I've sacrificed all my questions. So yeah, we just keep on like putting your questions, asking your questions. So whenever you're ready, you can.
Okay, I'm pretty ready now. Quick fun thing is that I just switched to my computer and I see one question now, but I think I missed the first couple questions or the first question. But I'm excited to answer this one right now. How long did it take? How long did learning take? So first off, let me introduce myself, guys. My name is Olayinka Peter. My surname is Olafemi, so my entire names are Olayinka Peter Olafemi. Um, so ideally it would have been Olayinka Olafemi, but I in secondary school I used to prefer Peter, and I had a nickname around it, so it was Peter Olafemi. And then at some point I had to make it more appropriate because a lot of my official documents had Olayinka, right, Olafemi, and then Peter, so it would be Olayinka Olafemi Peter. Eventually, I now saw how people used to write their names like in the Western world, and I'm like, okay, let me just make it like capital Olafemi so that I don't know. So it looks cool that way. Then when I was in university, it was purely Olayinka Olafemi. And then when I finished university, I started applying for roles, mostly remote roles, like across like international roles. I started to learn that, and I may be wrong, right? But what I learned, what I heard, let me say heard, because is that folks who folks who want to hire, remotely like international roles, they're excited to, or they're more comfortable when they see like names they can relate to, right? So I just put that there. So it's so that if they see like Olafemi, they're like, okay. But if they see people like, okay, this dude has a name, yeah, that's it. It was that. I mean, really. And then I felt like it started cool, But yeah. Anyways, oh, peak. Thanks, Usman. Um, so I'll answer Susanna's question. But let me give you a bit of more intro about myself. But let me answer the questions, and then while I'm answering the question, I'll be giving talking about myself. By the way, I didn't create a slide for this event. To be very honest, I just wanted to come to the event, and because I know that the idea was sort of like introductory into Google AI itself, the Google AI ecosystem itself, the Google AI products, and essentially how to get started, how to get comfortable. Yeah. So I feel like it's the same things I've been doing for the past couple years. So I didn't think it was essential to create a slide because I feel like what will be in the slide, what's Google AI? That's what is right. I feel like it's more interesting if we flow into it and talk about it, right? Although I mean the key points for a slide would be something to take away, stuff that you guys can screenshot, But after the session, if there's any questions, I can share resources that you guys can check out later and stuff. Okay, so for the first question, how long did learning the skill take? So respect to learning, I think that I'll first try to talk about my own exposure, how I got into tech, right? Um, First off, it's super exciting to see 39 folks on this call. I didn't expect no. I it's super exciting, super exciting. You know, that just shows that there's still a good percentage of curiosity in our ecosystem. All right. Um, so that's the way I got into tech too, curiosity. So I used to play a lot of video games, you know, when I was in secondary school. I used to take money and go to all those PS houses and play video games. Eventually, we bought a house in the house because my mom didn't want me to go again. So she tried to buy like a PS in the house. So we used to play. I'll still go out again because, you know, long story short, I studied computer science. I'll say maybe I was lucky because I wasn't even sure what course I was going to study, but a friend of mine said try computer science. I'm like, okay. I was going to try petroleum engineering because they say there's money in oil. But yeah, but the school I got into, which is Eke State University, they didn't have petroleum engineering, and I didn't get admission to UI that had petroleum engineering. So for extra, I chose computer science. It was my second choice. And I got admission there, which was weird, but yeah. I started computer science, and then while I was in school, I met Solomon. I worship him. We were roommates in my second year, and before then, he was the Google Student ambassador, and so he used to talk about all this tech stuff. And there was one time we were just talking. We were going to do the first event, so we're talking, and we're in the same department. And I said, "Do you know that you all of us are going to learn how to code, and learn how to build stuff?" I'm like, are you sure? I was going to learn how to build, and I asked him, "Are we going to learn how to build games?" Because of how much I like games, I'm like, okay, I'm going to learn how to build games. I want to build my own game. I said, yes, now. And so that day, I started googling stuff, and then we started learning about Android. Apparently, the first event was like an introduction event, so it was like an event like this, introductory. Oh, talk about stuff, yeah. And then the second event, we're going to do Android Study Jam. I was in my second year or third year. I'm not exactly sure. Second year, second semester. So we're going to do Android Study Jam. So there was nobody who was going to was going to teach it. So we usually have like volunteers, and so we had this meeting and like, oh, someone has to learn the courses and teach it. But apparently, not everybody had been learning it behind because I wanted to build my own game. So like, yeah, I mean, I've been doing a couple stuff. That's how I started. So Solomon would organize the event. I would do the teaching when it comes to the technical stuff, and that's how we started. Essentially, that's how I got into because I wanted to teach it and because I wanted to build my own game. And fun fact, yeah, I didn't know. I know that people say, "Oh, I didn't get into tech for money." I didn't even know that people get paid to write code. I said that I didn't know. I didn't know that people get paid to write code until my third year. We were going for IT, and then I found a place, and then I was going to get paid. I'm like, oh wow, cool. And then eventually, when I finished the IT and I go back to school, my fourth year, I was still working for them remotely, and they still get paying me, and I was like a big boy, you know. And then yeah. So in terms of learning the skill, I feel like it has taken my whole adult life. I left school in 2017. That's like 2017. That's like 7 years ago, right? So, and I started learning in my second year. So that's like almost 10 years now. But my experience with ML didn't start until I left school, right? Because when I left school, we had started another community then. There was GG Cloud, Ado. Just where I finished with my final exam, and then it was my first exposure to TensorFlow, first exposure to ML. Right, my final thesis was on AI, but pretty much fuzzy logic, just fuzzy logic. In short, I didn't do any actual ML. I did a lot of if else. It was supposed to be an AI app for identifying cardiovascular diseases because I had I had I had very very mild. I had something then, right? So I wanted to build a solution based on my own experience, my own condition then. Um, so I proposed to do something about cardiovascular disease, and yeah, I got it and I did it. But I mean, what I built, which was supposed to be AI, was not exactly AI. I tried to do a fuzzy logic into it, but the fuzzy logic code didn't work. So I just ended up using if else. If this is this to this, right? So it wasn't cool, and I didn't like it. But I say I had A anyways. But I was never proud of it, to be honest. So I wanted to do actual ML. So I started learning TensorFlow. I had an event, and this is how I used to learn. I would organize an event from anything I had to learn. So I would do a TensorFlow event. I would do something. I would do and I'm very excited because you can usually see the passion because you can usually tell that this is learn about this stuff. Yes, so I was like, guys, when you go and try this. When you go and try this, because I tried it and it looks really cool. Um, yeah, so I'd say that for how long the learners has taken me. Almost all my life. Sorry, Kazim, did you say something? Okay. But then give or take, I'll say maybe 4 years, 3 years, maybe 2 years actually, because I got my first, but I didn't get like my first job, my first set of jobs as an animal engineer. I worked as a mobile engineer. I worked as an animal engineer, and then I wanted to become international ML, so I started doing backend in Python. I did backend in Django, and then I started working as a data wrangler. Then I moved to ML. How exactly did Google use convolutional networks to create exceptional AI voices / speech? Well, convolutional neural networks are the foundation of everything. So the actual transition, aside from neural networks, the secret is neural networks. The secret to every single thing that we have in terms of modern advancements in AI is embedded in the power that convolutional networks bring, right? So for how it did it was you've got some CNN, some networks, and then there are a couple of tests, there are a couple of ideas now to how do I turn this, how do I make this thing better? And so they start creating new algorithms from neural networks, LSTM, long-term short memory to keep contexts of, to keep the context of the different nodes as the network is learning. So instead of just learning from one layer of the network to the next layer to the next layer, you're keeping context of the previous layer, or you're keeping context of nearby nodes in a layer, right? So you're keeping memory, long short-term memory. And then transformers. Transformers was super exciting because it was not just keeping context, it was also applying that context to the future network, even without getting to that network. So transformers could predict what the next node is supposed to be, even without getting to the next layer, right? It was extremely exciting. It was essentially trying to build out more capabilities from the network. So transformers, and then from transformers, we started having, long-term transformers that will train models, that train models for a really large amount of time with a couple billion parameters. So we're having 30 billion parameters, 500 billion parameters, and this model was trained for months, right? And that was how they got the first, first large language model, first powerful speech model, first powerful, yeah. How did I get my first job? Well, I'd say it came through referrals. My first job really was my internship, which was IT in third level second semester. But my actual first job when I left school was referral. It was at I forget what company now. Pay Attitude. I don't know if you guys know Pay Attitude. Pay Attitude. The office was at Ikoyi. Pay Attitude. I used to have to go to the office then. I didn't like going to the office. Oh my god. And at Pay Attitude, I was working as a mobile engineer. It came through referral, and I just finished school then. So I'd not even done my clearance, yeah, but I was already working, and at the office they had like desktops. So when you come to the office, you come in, you pay your badge, you come in, you work on their desktop, you work on their computer, and you can't take the desktop home because it's desktop. So it wasn't cool because where I did my internship, my IT, they give me a laptop, I could take it home, all that stuff. Although the pay I paid was better compared to was much better, but because of how I didn't like it, I'll bring my own personal laptop to the office and I'll put it on my lap while I'm working on this. I'm working on my own stuff, and then the architect, who's like the manager of the team, would ask me, "Olayinka, what are you doing?" I'll tell him that I'm googling stuff that I'm using to work on my because you can't do office work on my personal computer, but because I'm usually just building stuff. I feel like I was a bit stubborn, which wasn't good at all, which wasn't very good at all, which wasn't good at all. But because I didn't like the fact that it was desktop, eventually they're going to change it to laptops. They're going to put some flexibility around the team. But I left and I went back to Ekiti State to do a startup. I called it Codemonia. The goal of the startup was to teach kids how to code. And I was so sure that was my destiny, by the way, because I used to be like a Jesus. I used to be like a Jesus boy. I mean, I'm still a Jesus boy, but then I was so sure that was my destiny anyways, that I'll start up, teach kids how to code. Because there are a lot of opportunities in tech that if we equip our young folks with the knowledge from a very young age, it would transform our economy. That was what I believed. So I started Codemania. You can look up some stuff we've done. Maybe if you just Google code CODENNIA. Anyways, yeah. So and at some point we've got this we got a Google funding because we did some cool stuff. But I mean, yeah, we did that for a while. I did that for a while. And after a couple months, it was almost a long time that we did that. I was still working, right, but not full-time roles. I was doing like contract jobs and stuff. I then got, I got excited again. I wanted to do ML, I like look, I know that I'll do this Codemania stuff, but I also want to do, career ML. I want to have an actual career in ML, and then I just left Ekiti and I came to Lagos and I got another job. And then I got another job. And then all these jobs were back-end roles / data roles. They were not machine learning roles. It was super difficult to get an ML role in Nigeria at the time. Even the data engineering role at the time, I don't know, companies weren't hiring for ML. They didn't have the problem for an ML engineer to come and solve. Nobody was hiring for that. Even data engineering nobody was hiring for that. Nobody was hiring for data engineering. I was at 2018, 2019, 2020. But there were companies that internally they were doing data engineering stuff, but they were still calling it backend. So this company was doing data engineering stuff, but they were calling it backend. They had detailed pipelines, but they're calling it backend. But eventually companies began to have that shift. So my first actual ML role was a semicolon, where I was teaching. I was doing 80% of teaching, 20% of ML work, because semicolon, is like a school for students. Oh, and if you're looking to get started, I get that it's a bit expensive, a bit more expensive these days as opposed to like 2019, 2020. But I suggest semicolon anytime, any day. It's my three of my siblings were in semicolon. Like I even taught them, right? And they end quite well. They end quite well right now. I'm not even bluffing. I'm not even trying to cap. And apart from my siblings, I would just refer anyone semicolon. Semicolon is really ground. It's amazing with respect to whether or not to study computer science. They'll give you those fundamentals, and they'll help you, get very strong and confident, right? With coding, pretty much couple all the languages that are very important. They focus a lot on Java, anyways. But for my three siblings, for instance, one of them writes JavaScript, one writes Java, the other one writes Flutter, does Flutter. So it doesn't matter. You can, choose what you want to do with your life. But yeah, they focus a lot on Java, and Java can be a pain in the butt. But as a semicolon, so we used to do contract projects. So even for folks who do the teaching, they write codes on side projects. We work on contract. So because companies, something had a couple of good clients that used to bring contract work to semicolon. So we would work on it. So we'll work on stuff. So I built some ML models at semicolon with Flask at the time. Then I moved to a couple companies in between. Then I moved to Jumo. Jumo was amazing for a year. And then I moved to Verify for a year, and I moved to CredDirect. I've moved somewhere else, but I've not just announced it yet. How do you make a switch from mobile engineering to ML? So for the switch, it's quick one. So for the switch, right? I think is I think it's entirely with respect to the job role. So you can you can know stuff and then choose a job role. For instance, I've done a lot of work in a lot of other stuff, but you won't find it on my LinkedIn, for instance, because my career is, and this was like intentional. I chose I want only ML. Even when I made that decision, I still had to, I still had to make money. So I started to work as a mobile engineer. I worked for Tangerine for a year as an Android engineer, and this was in 2020, 2021, right? But it's not on my LinkedIn, for instance. I worked, I got some jobs like that, and I know that folks who are, engineers, particularly in the Nigerian system, have the same like story where you have one job, but you have another. I mean, yeah. But I'm saying in terms of like switching, you want to maybe learn the fundamentals, do a couple projects on it. I think that the main idea is projects. My best strategy is doing a project on stuff. My best strategy is doing something. Do something about what you're trying, like do a project, do something, do something. On my site, I have a list of projects, but I'll tell you for a fact that that's like 30% or 40% of the things I've done. All the things I've done, I've never, like, it's, and I find myself building one thing or the other, and I just like it. I feel like I've gotten pretty old, and I'm not gonna excited to do it, but over the past few years, I find myself doing one thing or the other every time. So if you're looking to switch to ML, build a couple stuff in ML, build a model, fine-tune a model, deploy a model, put it in production, build a microservice around it, and share it. Yeah. I feel I need to give up on one or give intense focus on one. However, I already have a massive experience in brand engineering. So could you say I will just focus on it, but I need to pay? Yes, that's the idea. You need money, you need to pay rent, you need to, yeah, that's the idea. So my advice would be keep doing your mobile stuff. Pay rent. I feel like there's time. Except I'm very old, but I feel like there's time. And I think that because of the buzz, right, or because of people coming to share exciting stories on Twitter and LinkedIn every now and then, people, we might get in our skin and say, "Ah, am I not moving in life?" All that stuff. To think that even when I became a GDE in 2022, I became a GDE October 2022. In November, I was asking myself, and this is real. I was already getting depressed again, asking myself, I'm not moving forward in life. What's going on? I mean, so even folks who do great stuff find themselves there. What's going on? Why am I stagnant? I'm not moving forward. Yeah, like I don't know why we do this to ourselves. I don't know why. And I feel like, except one is not ambitious. If you're ambitious, you find yourself in that space every now and then. It's normal. And it's simply a call to your destiny. Your destiny is requiring you to do more with your life. That's how I can think about it. And usually, just don't stop. Someone said something. For folks like us, and this is one lesson I'm trying to really learn. For folks like us who come from like Nigeria and stuff, it's super tough. It's super tough because for someone who's born and raised in the US, for instance, the privilege is crazy, it's endless. But for someone that's born and raised in Nigeria, you have to work 4 times harder, 5 times harder in every single thing you do. You have to put 5 times more effort. I swear, 5 times more effort to hope to get something that is amazing. You have to put in a lot of effort. You have to work hard. I try to learn that every single time because you find yourself in an environment where you're working with so different folks from so different parts of the world, and you realize that you don't have to do a lot more, right, to not be easily judged. Yeah. And yeah, and because you have to, you eventually it stops. Yeah, at some point you don't have to. You're just floating and flexing. But to get to that point, you have to put in times 5 the effort. Yeah, I think I may be wrong, right? I may be wrong, to be honest, but I think so. Like, so for instance, for applying for roles, for instance, for folks who are going to apply PT engineer and get a role, you have to apply a lot more, put a lot more efforts in how you apply, put a lot more effort in positioning yourself for these opportunities. A lot more effort, especially if you're like in Nigeria and applying from Nigeria. Like for roles, for particularly like times 10 more efforts, right? Yeah, it's exactly for you. So if you compare yourself to folks who are like living like in other regions of the world, you can't really compare. And even for folks who are living in other regions of the world who have like who traveled after like uni, there's still a bit of you just have to put more effort essentially. Right. And then eventually it's you just float, but I feel like in the first few years. I'd like to know how long I'm supposed to. I feel like I don't want to. Maybe I should. Sorry if you know. I don't know if you know. I don't know if I just called. How many more minutes do I have?
You have like 10 more minutes. But before like you continue or answer the remaining questions, You mentioned you switched, so there are some questions that came before that I would just
Okay.
ask some of them from. So the first question that came in from Emmanuel was, "How did you become a Google developer expert?"
Okay. So thank you very much, Ifem. Um, so for becoming a GDE, it was pretty much, you know, talking about it, um, sharing, writing about it. So because of the fact that I've been in the GDG, like Google Developer Group space, I'd already been used to learning stuff and teaching stuff. So um, in Lagos, I joined from Taiwo for GDG Cloud Lagos. I started talking about ML to talk about TensorFlow, do events about TensorFlow, write about stuff, write an article, yeah, speak at events. Yes, that's the thing. Speaking at events is the thing. So, and speaking at events, you can't get to speaking at events except you've started speaking at events for a while, because you want to get a bit popular with respect to speaking at events, and then they would like you, communities would like you to come speak at events. So for like this event, okay, yeah, like essentially you have to be a bit, you have to put yourself, people have to know you for that thing that you do. So for instance, if you write Flutter, there are a couple of folks that write Flutter so well, but they don't speak at events, right? So it's the ones who are a bit public about their work, even if they're not as good as the ones that write Flutter so well, that are going to be potential GDEs, or are going to are already GDEs, because the responsibility of a good developer expert is that you are laden with the work of speaking about Google technologies at events, writing about Google technologies at events, um, organizing events about Google technologies. Yeah, I think those three things essentially. So when you've been doing that constantly for about 2, 3, 4 years, ideally someone sees your work and refers you. You didn't apply for it. I don't know if anybody has applied, like outrightly applied for it. Someone asked to see your work, an existing GDE, and then a Googler, yeah, and then they recommend you, and then you do a bunch of interviews. You do a bunch of interviews, one interview, I think about 3 interviews, and then that's all, and then you become a GDE. But there's a couple pre-GDE, and there's a journey to being a GDE that you can apply for if you're in the GDG space already, or if someone can also share that link with you. So that for that one, you'd learn, some of the things that you need to become a GDE, and then, but I mean, essentially, I'd say that being GDE is very important, or was also key for me. For instance, it was. I think for two things, it was rewarding for all of like my work over the past few years, and the second thing, it was really, um, it was very key in like my future opportunities. It's been one key strength in my future opportunities. So essentially, people want to talk to me because they see like good developer expert. They like to want to send me emails. Hey, what's up? I would like, hey, yeah. It that brings opportunities to um so I'm trying to
Okay.
still answer.
Um,
Okay, if you know.
um, yeah, the next question was still from Emmanuel. What algorithm was used to build Gemini?
Oh, algorithm. Yeah, I tried to explain. Yeah, it was from NLP work, convolutional neural networks, to transformers. So essentially, transformer models, transformers, built large language models. So the underlying algorithm are transformers that train for a long time.
Okay. The next question from Chris is, for the past 6 months, I've been learning and improving my data analytical skills. My main reason being in tech is AI slash ML, but I felt they need to start with data analytics since it's within the data space. Could there be a perfect time to start?
So again, I'd say if you're I think like the best place or the best way to start these things, I mean, regardless of anywhere you are in the world, is to start somewhere. Like the best thing to start is to start. Like so if you're in a company, for instance, or if you get a role in a company, for instance, and the comp and the role is let's say mobile engineer, in that company, is there an opportunity to do some data work? If there is, you can volunteer to start doing it. And eventually start talking about how you'd like to switch careers, right? That's like the best way to switch. Is you're in an existing company, how can you switch? But if in that company you're like the major, mobile dude, right? They won't let you switch, right? So I don't know. But if it's data analytics, go for it. I feel like every single journey into ML starts from some data analytics work, data science work. Right, go for it. Then you eventually expand and extend into ML ops, ML microservices, and all other stuff.
Okay, thank you very much. Then Susanna was asking what are the different aspects of machine learning to specialize.
Okay, so for different aspects of machine learning to specialize, I'll say that aspects of machine learning. Well, so you can decide to choose, which is like a question that folks ask. The data science route, like the core data science route, or the ML ops route. Now, the core data science route means you are focusing on building models. You're focusing on whether it's a computer vision model, whether it's a computer vision company, whether it's an NLP company. You're focused on building models, experimenting different approaches, experimenting different algorithms, optimizing the model, evaluating the model metrics, automating the ETL for the model. So when raw data comes in, you're automating the annotation, automating the labeling, automating whatever it is that you guys are using to maybe label, clean the labels, process data, fine-tune, experiment the hyperparameters, all that stuff around building the model, evaluating the measures of the model, saying, oh, this model X is performing better than this model Y, right? And you propose that to the team, right? That's like the data science part of ML, right? But it's too core ML. And now the other part is a model is done. Now let's productionize it. Now in production, how does it work? What's the latency of the model? What's the speed? Should we quantize the model? Should we compress it? What technology should we quantize it with? Quantizing means a model, when you're doing a model, is like 700 megabytes. You quantize it to 150 megabytes. However, it's still the same model, but it loses some parts of the layers, such that the accuracy of the model drops a bit, but it's a very good trade-off for offline purposes. So for instance, you're building a model that has to work in a mobile app. You can't put the 700 megabytes mobile model in a mobile app. I mean, people won't download your app, right? So sometimes you want to quantize and even quantize the gain. Sometimes you want to make it as lightweight as possible. And so you've got TensorFlow Lite, PyTorch Lite, a couple of other frameworks that can help you do that. But the trade-off usually is that it loses some layers of the model. It loses some layers. So it's not as effective, it's not as accurate as it was when it was larger. That's like a trade-off, but it's the same model, it does the same thing, right? So that's like the MLOps part of it. You are now like you don't focus on data science part of work, you focus on the productionizing. How does it get to the hands of the users? How are users using it? How are you getting feedback? Right? You're collecting real-time data from users on how they're using the model, and they're using that and sending that real-time data back to the data scientist and say, look, this is real-time, let's improve our model. Data scientist trains which is also an ML engineer, trains the model. So I'm saying these are two different parts you can focus on. And the second part, which is ML ops, also needs you to know like actual DevOps, right? Because sometimes you probably won't put the model in the microservice like Fast API and Flask. Probably want to put it on Google Cloud. Probably want to put it on AWS SageMaker. Probably want to use a Vertex notebook, like a Vertex instance in Google Cloud, or Microsoft Azure, and share the endpoint of that instance to the front-end engineers, right, for them to use it. And then as I it, you're monitoring the logs and monitoring how the model is working. So there are different parts. Essentially, it will depend on the company, but depending on whatever company, is this same, it still boils down to those parts. Build the model, productionize the model, build the model, productionize the model, monitor the model in production, evaluate the model after you build it, all that stuff. It's always the same thing. But this, they have like different processes, they have like different stages depending on what the company does, right? I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, hopefully it does. And lastly, the last question we've just taken for the session was Uchina is asking, isn't this field like 2 years old? How did you become a senior?
No, even LLMs is already 3 years. Even LLMs was 2022, 2023, 2024. Even large language models is already 3 years. And this is just LLMs. So LLMs it was not yesterday, it was not yesterday. Time has passed though, and it's super, super surprising. OpenAI launched when is OpenAI launched? Let me
2022, I think, November also, or 2021, I'm not sure.
OpenAI launched ChatGPT in November 30, 2022. Okay. So ChatGPT itself is 2 years. LLMs itself is about 3 years. Like the idea of LLMs was about 3 years. ChatGPT itself was launched in 2 years. It's just 2 years old. But LLMs is about 3 years because there's been a lot of news about LLMs before ChatGPT launched, right? And people have been doing stuff with LLMs before ChatGPT launched. Because ChatGPT is just launching a product. So ML itself dates back to 2008. ML itself, and this is like modern ML, 2008, 2009, 2011. TensorFlow was launched in 2015. TensorFlow was launched in 2015, right? And before TensorFlow, a lot of libraries are just on ML, right? Scikit-learn itself was launched. Scikit-learn 2007. So modern ML has been since 2007, right? Convolutional networks was when TensorFlow was launched. And if TensorFlow was launched in 2015, convolutional was around 2012, 2013. TensorFlow puts all of that work as, classes, TensorFlow classes. So you're calling, TensorFlow Keras classes, which have, this very, very finely written mathematical ML models that are neural networks. They can just call arbitrary and execute, right? So it was frameworks that were wrapping around all these modern algorithms that we can use, TensorFlow, PyTorch. But yeah, this back down to 2007. So modern ML has been on for quite a while. Traditional ML has been on for 2000, 1990, Yeah, so it's been quite some time. But in terms of adoption was really slow. Adoption was super slow. In short, people didn't even know about the existence of Scikit-learn until TensorFlow was launched. Like, it was crazy. A lot of people were using Scikit-learn, but they didn't know about their existence. People didn't know about the existence of Keras until we started pushing machine learning. So we started pushing, it was that push that made companies start saying, let's try this stuff. Let's do this stuff. Let's do this stuff. Let's try to create an analytical model for our data. Let us have insight into our data. Yeah, companies were not interested before. They just want to make money, right? But with the spread of these things, companies are saying, hey, let's build a model that can help us predict the occurrence of X, and then let's hire a data scientist, let's hire a machine learning engineer. That was where was those problems that started making the iron. That was how when I started spreading. Right. I think I can just answer a few of the other questions here and quickly round up. Best learning resources from Chifu Nanya, Alex Ozoto. I can share. I'll share a couple items before the just after my talk. When did you negotiate? When you negotiate with employers in the ML space, you make them aware of the fact that the field is very different and unique space in the sense that it requires a lot of resources and computing power for experimentation. Also, which comes with resources the advice use. So essentially, so this for Adejumobi summer. Essentially, I feel like companies who are hiring are already aware. Usually they already like have a team, but for companies who don't, who are not aware, sorry for Rennie, I'll get to you in a bit. Sorry, for companies who are not aware or who don't have these resources, I think it's essential, very important that I tell them, yes, Adejumobi, the answer to your question is yes. You want to make them aware. Yes, that is very, very computationally, requires computation, right? You want to make them aware that for these things I'm going to run, I'm going to have to pay for GPUs on Google Cloud, for instance, pay for GPUs on AWS, for instance. Yes. When did I start my tech journey? 2015, 2014. I mean, any year works. Okay, follow me on social media. So I just put up. Okay, you can follow my Twitter. I think for my Twitter, you see the rest of my you can see my website on Twitter. My website, you can see the rest of my life. So, Renee, you had your hand raised up.
Okay. There are like more questions. I don't. Maybe we just take just one because we still have another session, and so that we don't. Because I know people will keep on asking like a couple of questions, so that we don't sleep here. Except you want to have like a paid session with Sim or something. So yeah, we'll just take one more question and round up
Okay.
the session. So yeah, we'll just take Emmanuel's question. I think Emmanuel was asking what are the minimum specifications of the laptop that is a good fit for machine learning?
Oh,
For minimum, I think that the I think that the same minimum specification for for an adequate laptop works as well. 80 gram, 80 gram with an 80 gram laptop works. My opinion, it's not a good practice to run models offline. In short, it's super difficult to run TensorFlow models offline. It's very difficult. For most of the laptops, so like the M1, specifications right now for the M1 laptops, it's it's difficult to people. I mean, I'd say maybe run your models in Colab, but so that you don't have to buy a 16 gig RAM computer, right? You run your models in Colab and then download your models as pickle files, as TF files, as PT files, and then run them, and then you can run them locally. But for the specifications, I mean, the normal specifications work, in my opinion. Yeah. Emmanuel Timothy, I think you had made up 2 times now. Please, you can go on and ask the question so that.
I think he dropped his question already.
Please, let me ask him how can I build my resume as an ML engineer for a beginner, please? Oh, so I think with respect to resumes, the one of the main factors like work experience. You maybe want to find some kind of work experience as that you worked as an ML engineer, or you want to probably list projects, right, that you've done as an ML engineer. But more importantly is work experience. So I'd say that, for your resume, if you can list text, if you can list work projects that you've done, that's a key thing. Maybe courses you've done, and then work experience. So essentially, if you can find a current role, and maybe in that current role, find a way to transition into an ML role within that current role, right? It may not exactly be ML, it could be data science. So you can term the role data science / ML, right, on your resume. I think that's a good way to do it. I think that's the chance. Oh, let me just answer everybody's question again. Which popular framework is your best preferred? TensorFlow. Is it compulsory that your main major framework for computing is TensorFlow? No, of course not. So today I do so I've got contract work and they use PyTorch and it's NLP, and so I do a lot of PyTorch and for the same problem I've run some experiments on TensorFlow, but because what they have in production is PyTorch, and my experiments on TensorFlow has better metrics, but also has some trade-off in that it's a bit larger. It's a bit larger than the model in PyTorch, a little bit larger, but it works better. It has better accuracy actually. I mean, I've spoken to the folks about it, but I don't know if they're going to make the switch or not. I'm hoping that they do. But my go-to framework is always TensorFlow. PyTorch is cool too. I mean, depends. Thanks everyone. Super cool. Super exciting to have this session with you guys. Bye.
Yes, very much. Thank you very much, Olayinka, for the session, and thank you everyone for your questions. It was quite interesting actually, getting a lot of questions. So we'll be moving to, so before we move to our second session, actually, for people that joined, I won't say late. So I'll be sharing back my screen, and before I move to the second session, actually. So yeah, I'm sharing. I hope everyone can see my screen where I'm talking. Where I have the breakdown of engagement, community activities or engagement. I already touched on this like at the beginning, but for people that came a bit late and don't know what this is about. So like I said, this is Machine Learning Lagos, and it's under one of the Google developer communities, and basically the goal here is just to get everyone into, or get people acquainted with machine learning and the AI space. So I've already said what we offer as a community, and I'll just be explaining, or I'll be going through what a breakdown of community activities or engagements would be. So the first one is our monthly technical call, where we would bring experts in what they do, on discussions in AI and machine learning topics. Then we're having reading clubs. So the reading club is going to be intertwined, or might be intertwined, with the study groups. So reading club is basically where people come together to have and discuss research papers and AI related materials, because I really like this one, because if we look at it, people are always doing, oh, what is machine learning, but we don't have full focus on research and what research is all about, right? So what we aim to do with this reading club is to get people to discuss research papers on how to become, basically building your skills on getting better as maybe a researcher, or you want to go into research too. So we'll be having that. Then study groups, we'll be having study groups or jams where we would have hands-on workshop, and we'll be having maybe classes on machine learning topics and explore different tools. And lastly, we'll be having community day. So it's going to be full a full-blown day where we'd have code labs, we'd have workshops, we'd have talks, maybe panel sessions and networking. It's just going to be dedicated to machine learning and AI. And yeah, we don't know when this our own would hold, but as time goes on, would give more updates. So how can you get involved in all of this? Number one, feedback. Would like feedback. So starting from this event, would like the feedback. We'll be sharing forms, surveys after our event, and maybe from time to time. So how you can let us know if we're doing something right or if we should do something better is by giving us feedback and filling our forms honestly, then presenting. So I call this presenting. So you should show your expertise at speaking at events, or probably if you're in a study group, you lead your study group session, you lead a workshop, basically anything that you know can put you out there. And lastly, showcasing. So whenever you build something, like I saw some people dropped some things on the group chat. So if you want it to be publicized, we can do that for you. Just give us what you need and showcase your work so that people will know, oh yes, you're doing something and this is what you've done so far, so that everyone can have an idea of what you do, and from there you can build a brand for yourself. So our second session is building your muscle memory, continuous learning in AI, and it'll be taken by Adejumobi Joshua. I call her Jumobi. That Adejumobi is too long. So she's a data scientist at SecOp Analytics, and previously she was a research intern at DSN, that's Data Science Nigeria, and she was a Kaggle X BIPOC scholar, and she currently has authored papers accepted at very big um, very big ML events such as ICLR and NeurIPS. So I would like to, she's my boss. I also like to add that to it. I would like to invite Jovi to uh, take us on a session. So you are not clapping again. We are bringing big people here. Let's clap for Jumobi. So over to Jumobi. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ifeanyi, for that introduction. Don't mind that Ifeanyi is also my boss. All right, so I want to say a very big thank you to Olayinka because he has also touched on some of the points that I have here. So I'm going to share my screen now. All right, so please confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. I'll be speaking on a topic, building your muscle memory, continuous learning in AI. So I'm sure because of the diverse audience that we have here, just to fulfill our righteousness, right? So we know that artificial intelligence is just making computers do what would normally require human intelligence, right? And most of us would have interacted with Gemini, Google Assistant, and then one that we might not be very familiar with is Google's Notebook LM. So as a researcher, I use it a lot to listen to research papers as podcasts, right? So sometimes you can be busy and not have time to like read those research papers. So you can just listen to them in a very interesting way and in a podcast. So you might want to also try that out. So one thing that I saw that was a question that was asked during Inca's session was that people were asking that, oh, how long did it take you to know like everything that you know in the field of machine learning, right? So as a newbie, seeing all the recent updates in the field, you might want to get overwhelmed and be like, look at this person. When did this person get to this particular stage? And I'm happy that Yinka already shared with us that, wow, it took him like 10 years, right, to get that. So there's time, just like he said, right? So you just have to calm down and then learn everything you want to learn, one step at a time. Don't be overwhelmed, right? Just calm down. And one thing you also want to do as a newbie in machine learning to build your muscle memory is to build a strong foundation. Don't just jump, and somebody that's not even started learning Python or something, then you're already jumping to generative AI, right? So you want to go one step at a time. Go from learning Python to learning the basics of machine learning before moving on to deep learning and then NLP and CV and all of that. So, and I know some people might want to start with the math. Well, for me, that does not work, right? I like doing the applied machine learning first before, when you understand the application, then you can now go into the theory, right? Because starting with the theory, you might get all bored and all. So for some people that have also been asking about resources, there are a lot of free resources online now that you can use to gain expertise in the field of ML. We have Kaggle, they have a series of crash course on machine learning concepts. Deep Learning.ai, they release some free courses regularly. We also have Udacity. Udacity also has a free course on machine learning. Then we have Jeremy Owart's course on deep learning using fast AI and PyTorch. So you can also look at that. And Hugging Face natural language processing course. Yeah, so all these resources here, they were very useful to me when I was starting as a newbie to build my muscle memory. And just, I think Olayinka also mentioned this. One thing you want to also do is apply whatever you have learned, right? Do not just learn, show your workings, right? Work on mini project and show that, okay, given this task, right, I have the skill to work on this particular project. And one thing that really helped me as a newbie, right, to build my muscle memory was to participate in hackathons. Like, it was the real deal for me because I got to learn new different concepts, right, in machine learning, participate in hackathons on Kaggle, participate in hackathons. Well, we participated majorly on Zindi, right? And it was most times was an inter-school thing. And during that time, I used to only know people from my school, right, that are doing machine learning. But apart from learning new skills, like when you participate in hackathons, another thing that is also very important is you get to network with people in your local community, not just local community, like international community that are into ML. And then the next thing also is to create a portfolio of projects that you have worked on, such that somebody asks you, oh, do you have this particular skill? Oh, yes. Not that you just said, oh, I have this particular skill, right? I've taken this so and so course. No, I have this particular skill. I built a project on Yoruba rag, which helps to do this and that. So that shows that, okay, yes, this person is well grounded in that skill. So for the community part, I'll be talking more on that at the later end of this talk. So now, one question that some people also asked during Olayinka's session was that, oh, I think he said he was a mobile engineer before moving on to being a before transitioning, right? So we have like new buys in like two phases, like new buys that are in another field, right, that want to transition into ML, and then we have new buys that are just starting, right, that they just want to do ML. So when you're like moving from being a newbie in those two different spaces, right, that I have explained, to being a professional now working in the machine learning field, right, this phase can be really daunting, because then you start searching for jobs and then you start getting those rejections and all. Well, I also had my fair share of rejections, right? So, and I think most mistake that some people make on at this point is to just stop learning, right? They just put all their focus on applying to jobs and then they stop learning. And it is at this phase, right, when you are like applying to jobs on one side, you also still have to continually improve your skills, right, such that you cannot improve your employability skill. So when you are applying to jobs, don't just be one way, like, oh, his jobs, his job. I've done everything that you have to do. Fine. I know you've done everything that you have to do. You've done your assignment, but it doesn't hurt, right, to work on more interesting projects. Fine. So people might say, okay, would we just continue working on more interesting projects all the time without gaining money from it, right? Because it can be tiring. How will you tell me to just keep on learning, keep on learning, keep on learning, right? And the money is not even forthcoming. So I'll take a sneak peek into this is how a community can help you, right? Because if you are in a community now, let's say the senior professionals in your field, they are overwhelmed, right? And they might have, okay, who has this particular skill, right? You can just tell them, okay, I can do this, and through that you can also what, earn some cool cash. Why? Because you were in that community. And just like I said before, working on hackathons does not just improve your skills. You don't just learn more, you don't just network. Working on hackathons too can help you to gain money, of course, because monetary award is always attached to those hackathons. So as a newbie wanting to transition from being a newbie to being a professional, so one thing you want to do so you don't get tired, right, when you're not gaining money from it, position yourself very well in a community. You can also put your profile or your portfolio on websites like Upwork, right, to get free gigs, and then you can work on also participate in hackathons to get this money, so that you don't just get tired of learning. And I also think one thing that Olayinka said that I resonated with very well is teaching. Teaching is like very, very important. Teaching whatever you've learned is equally important, and this is often overlooked, right? Because when you want to teach, right, you would have mastered that concept and you would not want to go and disgrace yourself, right, whenever you want to teach. So it's a very good way to build your muscle memory also in machine learning. Apart from that, while you are still waiting, right, in between being a professional from a newbie to a professional working in an ML field, right, you can also gain some cash, right, from teaching. So all this little money are just to encourage you, right, to learn continually, so you don't get tired, right, when you are searching for that perfect job that you want, right? And some people, they might even be lucky enough to get jobs in like data analysis and all, and they will say, they are not doing, no, it's machine learning that they want to know, right? If you get a job in data analysis, right, you can still do it. Well, some people do not, they're not all for the money, right? So, but if you get a job in data analysis and you need money, so one thing you want to do is take the job, and then by the side, right, continually what, learn, build your CV, work on more projects that would what, improve your employability. I think this really helped me, right? Because during my waiting period, I actually got tired at some point, to be sincere. I was tired of learning, right? When the money was not forthcoming. So I think one thing that helped me was that I participated in an AI academy on LLMs from SecOp. And because of my performance that in that program, it was a program that brings US and Nigerian participants together. So at that point, I was the only Nigerian that graduated from that program. And what I learned from that program actually helped me in my Cargo X BIPOC program. Can you see I kept on going from programs to programs, collecting their money. So then I transitioned to being a Cowboys by POC scholar. I did not even have a mentor, right? But everything I had gained from that Secov AI Academy program really helped me. And then I was able to use it during my internship at DSN. You know, we wanted to work on a project where a user will ask natural language questions, and then we have like GPT transform those questions in natural language to SQL, and this would interact with our database, right? And then after getting the response, the LLM will now return the answer as a natural, in a natural context, right, to the user. So when they wanted to work on this project, Adejumobi has done something like this before. So just because I did not stop learning, right? So moving on, as a professional in the field, well, yes, now you have now gotten the job that you want. You've gotten the job that you like. You are happy in your ML role. Well, as a professional, right, in the field of machine learning, you are going to sometimes like work on projects that will push beyond the current skill sets that you have. And in this scenario, right, you are still continually learning and improving yourself on the job. Okay, yes, so I understand that, fine. You are still learning and then improving yourself on the job, right? So but one thing is that when you encounter those kind of projects that you have that pushes beyond your current skill set, and you have to like learn a new concept at that point, right, you might be under pressure, right, and then you just jump to the first solution that you see. You just apply it, and then fine, it solves the problem, thank God. But if you had been like staying abreast of the emerging technologies, right, you might have heard or read, right, or listened, right, using notebook LM, right, to a new concept that was released, right, and then you might have been able to suggest that, oh, let us use this concept, right, in this project. So as a professional, fine, you still get to learn on the job, right? But to bring innovation to your project, to bring innovation to whatever tasks that you are given, right, in your workplace, and to improve the quality of your work, you still want to continually learn and stay you still want to continually learn to just bring that innovation, right, to whatever work you are doing. Be the professional that they say, oh, let's ask this person. This person would have a new idea for us, right? So for me, I was working on a research project with the professors in my school, and then for that research, we predicted that, oh, these are we wanted to predict chemical properties like in the soil, and then after predicting, we want to recommend that for this particular soil, this is this kind of crop that can grow on it, and then we also recommend the kind of fertilizers, and then we also had little locations on where you can get them. So we had a long recommendation like file from the soil experts, right? So I was able to suggest to them, because that time I just learned about rag and it was very, very fascinating to me, right? So I told them, oh, you should use rag for this, right? So in that instance, I was able to like bring innovation to that project. So that is an instance where it is very, very important to stay abreast of emerging technologies, right, as a professional in the field. So I've been saying staying ahead of emerging technologies in the field of artificial intelligence. So how do you do this, right? How do you stay ahead in AI? So one thing you want to do is follow people of like mind. So we have different pages where you can get to know about new concepts that just happen, know about state of the arts. So for those interested in research, and you can follow, we have this ARXIV, you can follow their page on Twitter. You can also follow DSN's page. They release lot of things. And if you want to be well grounded in competitions, right, you can also follow Cargo's page. And of course, you are here because you probably followed Machine Learning Lagos on a social media platform, maybe LinkedIn or X, which you are learning and then improving your knowledge, right? And you also want to follow thought leaders also, like Joshua Benjo and Renji and Daniel Ikon. So another way to do this is to also subscribe to newsletters, right? Like the batch, where I like the training.ai lot, right? So we also have Queer for AI newsletter. Queer for AI is also a research community, and you can also follow the variable, their newsletter. You can get more insights from it by reading through. So another thing to do is to attend conferences. Like, this is very, very important. If you're a kind of person that you do not even like reading, you don't like social media, attend conferences, please, because you get to network with people of like minds, and you also get to hear about what is trending in the AI field, because definitely somebody is going to speak about it or give a talk about it. So we have different conferences that you can attend. We have DevFest, they had their conference recently. We have DevFest Lagos, we have DataFest Africa, we have Oscar Fest. Indaba X is like the local community. Indaba X Nigeria, right, is like the local community for a larger community, which is deep learning in Indaba. So what this community, what they are just doing is to strengthen African machine learning, right, in the African space on a very high level. And if you are interested in research, right, if you're interested in research, you might want to submit your papers to NeurIPS, Neural Information Processing Systems, or ICLR, that's the International Conference for Learning Representations. So, and some people might be like, oh, how do I even like break into research, right? So after you've learned the basics that you are supposed to learn, right? So after learning the basics you are supposed to learn, the next thing you want to do is to read research papers, right? So it is not immediately that you might have an idea, right, that you want to work on. It might be as simple as, oh, you're just redoing what a research paper did, right? And when you're just doing it again, right, you can get some awesome ideas. So, oh, why did they do this? Why did they do this? Oh, I want to investigate that, right? Bringing up your own research idea that way. So, which is still reinforcing the what I said the other time, that you do not just learn, right? Always apply whatever you have learned. Right? Don't just read, right? When you have the time, try to apply whatever you have read, and then join a community. Like, it is very, very important. So join a community. Very, very important. So I'll be talking about the importance of a community to a newbie, right? And also the importance of a community to a professional. So as a newbie, just like I explained the other time, you might be confused on what to learn, but look at, because you joined Machine Learning Lagos and you attended their conference, right? You got to know about some free courses in machine learning that you can learn from. So learn knowledge acquisition and learning support. And even I myself that I'm talking to you, I got to know about those resources because I was part of a community, right? So, and I'm here again in Machine Learning Lagos community, trying to pass them on to you. So knowledge acquisition and learning support is very an important reason, right, to join a community. So another reason is networking and building connections. I think Olayinka told us that his first job that he got, right, was through a referral. Not all jobs, in fact, all my jobs that I've gotten are through referrals. Referral. Oh, Adejumobi, can you do this? Oh, Adejumobi, are you free for a machine learning role? Oh, Adejumobi, this. I'm not going on LinkedIn. All the jobs that I've gotten, right, I've been through referral. because of the communities that I've been in. So being in a community is very important because they are sure that, okay, this person can do this thing. They want people that they can vouch for, right? So join communities and be active, right? So as to build your network and build your connections, right? Stay being in a community will also help you to stay motivated as a new buyer and then overcome isolation, right? Just like I explained, during the phase of going to a new buy to being a paid professional in the ML field, you might get tired, but then if you're in a community, you can really get more cash from senior professionals by working on hackathons with your teammates in that community, because of course collaborative work, right, always exceeds source a singular job, right? And then so people complain about mentorship, right? So if you're part of a community, you can get us indirect mentorship, right? It might not even be direct, but the senior professionals might just come and say, oh, this is how you do this is how you do, just like the attending this webinar by Machine Learning Lagos, right? So you've got to know some things, right, that you might not have known before from Olayinka and also from me. So from joining a community helps, right, to navigate your career path, and you also get indirect mentorship, right, through that. So, and for a professional, right, why should you join a community? You're big now, you're the boss, right? So just to stay updated, right? Stay updated, get to expand your network, right? Professional growth, right? They are very, very important. So being in a community, and also for collaboration and then bringing innovation to whatever tasks and projects that you do at your organization. So I'll be taking Q&A now. So that is all from me. Thank you very much for listening to my talk.
Yeah, if you have questions, you can drop your questions for Jumobi now in the chat section. Okay, I'll take that as no questions. Oh, there was a question that she was okay. Susanna was asking about the program. I think it was that was Kabul BIPOC. It holds yearly. I was about to say monthly. So I think that's what you're asking for, right? Okay, yes, Susanna, you're raising your hand.
Oh yeah, I was asking. She said that she was in the program when she was the only one. That's the one I was asking. I
Oh,
think program.
Oh, that's the one for Sec of AI Academy. Yeah, they said I was in Nigeria and I graduated from the program. Yeah. Not Sec of. So they hold it yearly, right? So whenever the applications are out, I think we can always send it to Machine Learning Lagos.
yeah, she's asking if you can just type the name. So yeah, that's say if you can type the name. Let me see. I don't know how to write the name, but she would do that in the chat section. So yeah, I mean she actually said a lot, and to be honest, it's like a lot of things because I was having reflections as she was talking, especially when I wanted to start. For example, when I wanted to start my research journey, I joined ML Collective, and to be honest, it was transformative. I joined maybe this time last year or November last year, and I've been able to work on like a couple of projects and all, and attend deep learning in Daba. Deep learning in Daba is like, I'll call it like should I say ICLR of Africa or something. Or it's like a very top notch event because I attended last year and this year, right? Um, so last year I was able to meet with Jeff Dean, and that was one of the creators of TensorFlow, and I was able to ask him questions that, oh, this and this from TensorFlow, and he was able to answer me. And this year too, Sami Benji was there, the creator of Touch, which eventually was used for PyTorch. He worked on Jax, he worked on Palm, he worked on like a couple of AI products that are in the industry. And I was there, I could ask him like questions and lay my thoughts with him, and we discussed. So I mean, attending conferences are really, 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 really cool for if you want to get motivated. After I finished from that event, I was feeling like I want to go and build my own next Gemini. Well, yeah, that's like the whole thing about attending conferences. I know, but I believe our speakers, both Olayinka and Adejumobi, they've done great work on speaking um on everything that can be said. Actually, I don't think can be overemphasized or overspoken about. So I don't know, Frank, you're trying to learn a particular ML algorithm. Uh, I can't answer a question at the moment, but if anyone can answer, they can answer to that on the chat section. So yeah, I think that's mostly what we have for today, right? So I would be before I go on. So yeah, icebreaker. I've said we've had a lot of sessions, so I think I'll just keep the icebreaker. The icebreaker will be to ask a lot of I wanted to ask a couple of questions, but I think there's nothing to ask because I believe everyone understands. Or is there anything yeah, I believe everyone has asked a lot of questions, and if you have more questions for them, you can always connect to them on social media and ask your questions. So moving forward, like I said, we'll be having our technical sessions, right? On we're having our technical sessions, and we're having our very first technical session next week, Thursday, which is on the 28th of this month, November, and Said will be taking us on his journey of building Nigeria Web. So I don't know if everyone has or you've seen it online because it's like something that a lot of companies have been posting. Said worked on scraping Naira land for built it off GPT-2, and he was able to build a very, very large data set for LLM works. So Said will be taking us through what he did, and we'll be learning like very insightful things from him. So in case you want to register for it, it's going to be very, very interesting, and I promise you, you're not going to actually regret coming for it. So you would have you'd have time to ask questions. It's going to be putting like his whole journey and everything. So I would suggest you register. And as time goes on, too, we'll be having, like I said, monthly sessions. So our next monthly session will be in December, and we'll be moving on like that. And also, if you feel you if you feel like there is someone that you think we can bring, or maybe you would want to speak or something, you can fill this form that I just shared. So in case you think there's a topic you feel like we should discuss as a community, or you feel you have some technical expertise and you want to share with us, so you can fill that form and you can reach out. And if we believe, oh, okay, this is very, very good, we'll reach out to you, or we'll reach out to the person that you, or maybe someone that can take that topic and would have that session. So that's our way of listening back to the community. So yeah, so it's going to be 6 p.m. next week, Thursday. So our study group or jams or anything clubs or anything will be starting next year. So watch out for that. It is going to be very, very interesting and very interactive. Both our resources repository project, everything is ongoing. We're making like very, very great plans for you. We don't want to start it now, so it's not going to be half baked, right? We want to give the best because I mean it's very good. I mean, who eats? No one eats abdon rice here. Well, I can't say for everyone, but for me, I don't eat abdon food. So yeah, we'll be doing justice to all of our works or all of our sessions starting from next year. So just bear with us and watch out for us. And in the process of watching out for us, you can stay connected or you can join the community. So how can you stay connected with us? How can you join the community? You can follow us on Twitter or X, and you can follow us on LinkedIn. So we would always have our updates there. Would always have everything that we are doing right there. So in case you have any questions, you can send us messages. You can also reach out to the community managers to basically the two admins on the group. You can reach out to them if you have any thoughts or if you have anything that you want us to do or want us to know about. So, and I think lastly, would like your feedback. So, like I said, ways for you to get involved in the community is to give us your feedback. Would like your feedback, right, on how the session went, what you think we could have done better, or things we could have done, things you like to see, and all those kind of things, right? So you can fill the form. I'll be expecting a couple of feedback so I can read through, and we as a team can go over it and see how we can make things better for you because we are here to, give you the best. And at the same time, I would also suggest or I would encourage all of us to always, continue what we're doing. A lot of people are doing amazing stuff. I mean, I've seen a couple of things on the group, and yeah, it's really, really interesting. And I'll be glad if we can continue with this energy and in fact do more or better. So I think that's all. So thank you very much, everyone. I mean, we started this call with around 36 people. We moved to 42 or 45, and now we're 39. It's really, really interesting to see that people stayed for like a call. We're 4 minutes above our schedule, but we're ending now. I want to say thank you very much to everyone for coming. I want to thank the team for organizing this and making this a success. I also want to thank our lovely speakers for taking out their time to, have this session with us. So in case anyone would miss this call is currently recorded, and as soon as the recording drops, we'll be uploading it on our YouTube channel and we'll share the link with everyone. So in case people that are not available for the call, in case they missed it, they'll be able to watch it on our channel and get basically just get what we've done today. So, and I also suggest that you should not be missing calls so that you have like first-hand information and it's not like you hear from someone. So yes, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. And yes, I didn't say thank you um to my congregation. That's a congregation of participants or attendees. Yes, for staying back till this time. I want to say thank you very much. And yeah, thank me too. So yeah, that's all. Thank you very much. Bye. Have a lovely weekend. See you next Thursday.